The chosen one. The storm raged inside you long before it touched the sky. It was not thunder that shook you. It was the echo of something ancient, calling your name through the silence you tried to protect yourself with. And though you pretended not to hear it, your heart already knew this was the moment that would divide who you were from who you were meant to become. You stand at the edge of your own life, feeling both the weight of destiny and the sting of doubt. The voice within whispers, "It is time." Yet another voice, quieter but stubborn, questions, "Why me?" You have seen loss. You have known loneliness so sharp it carved pieces of you away. But even in that pain, something survived, something sacred. For years, you believed you were wandering without direction. Yet every delay, every heartbreak, every silence was divine choreography. You were being shaped, refined, made ready for this. But readiness feels strange, doesn't it? It does not arrive with confidence. It arrives with trembling hands and a heart that fears it might fail. The truth is this: before light reveals you, darkness must refine you. The chosen ones are not born fearless, they are born broken, and in the breaking, they find the shape of faith. So you question everything. You ask why love hasn't stayed, why dreams have crumbled, why the world seemed to close its doors while heaven stayed silent. But the silence was not neglect, it was preparation. Every unanswered prayer became a seed, buried deep within the soil of your soul. And now, they begin to stir. The divine does not rush creation, it perfects it. You were never forgotten. You were hidden. Now, something shifts. It begins softly, a strange warmth behind your chest, a quiet awareness that something is aligning, that the invisible pieces of your life are moving toward a convergence you can't yet understand. You want to resist, because surrender feels like losing control. But the voice returns, clearer this time, not from above, but from within. Stop running. What you seek is already seeking you. You breathe in, and for the first time, you sense it. The love you prayed for, the purpose you denied, the life waiting on the other side of your surrender. It's not a fairy tale love or a sudden miracle, it's a sacred unfolding. And yet, you hesitate, because part of you still fears the cost of faith. You've trusted before and been betrayed. You've hoped and been disappointed. But this is different. This is not the return of old love. It is the revelation of divine love, one that mirrors not your wounds, but your wholeness. As you begin to walk toward it, shadows of doubt rise again. The voices of others echo in your mind. You're dreaming too big. You're imagining signs. You're not chosen. But destiny is not a democracy. What is written for you cannot be voted out of existence. The path of the chosen is lonely because it is sacred. It demands that you walk through the valley of unbelief before you can stand on the mountain of revelation. It's the kind of faith that doesn't ask for proof, it becomes the proof. And in that moment of fragile surrender, something changes. The air grows still. The weight inside your chest loosens. You feel the unseen presence of something vast and tender watching over you. The universe, once indifferent, now feels alive, as though it has been waiting for you to remember who you are. You are not merely searching for love. You are becoming the space where divine love can exist. Every lesson, every heartbreak, every solitary night, it was never punishment. It was preparation. Soon, you will see how the pieces fit the people who left. The prayers unanswered, the timing that once felt cruel. It was all the silent rhythm of divine precision. But for now, stand still. Feel the gravity of this moment. You are crossing a threshold that cannot be undone. The divine whispers again, not as a command, but as a revelation. You were never waiting for love. Love was waiting for you to awaken. The storm quiets. The air tastes like a beginning, and somewhere deep within you, a sacred knowing ignites the prophecy has begun. If you feel this truth, hit like and subscribe. Write 333 inches the comments. It's a prophetic sign of your divine alignment. The chosen one. The dawn broke, but it did not bring peace. Light poured through your window, yet your soul remained shadowed. You had heard the call, but now came the silence that follows revelation, the stillness that forces you to question if any of it was real. You wanted to believe the promise. You wanted to trust that the divine had truly chosen you. But faith, once stirred, also awakens fear. Because the moment destiny calls your name, every hidden doubt rises to answer. You tell yourself it was just emotion, just coincidence, just a dream that meant nothing. You return to the routines, to the noise, to the comfort of disbelief. But no matter how much you try to drown it out, the whisper follows you. The voice that once felt holy now feels haunting. You pass people on the street who seem so certain of their lives, so untouched by divine storms, and you wonder why your calling feels more like exile than blessing. You were told that being chosen meant being loved, being guided, being protected, but no one told you it would also mean being stripped bare of your certainty, your pride, your comfort. You look to the heavens and whisper, "If this is divine, why does it hurt?" No answer comes, only the slow ache of transformation. The truth is, every chosen one must endure the fire of doubt. Because what is faith if it cannot survive the silence? The divine tests not to destroy you, but to refine you, burning away what was borrowed so that only what is eternal remains. You remember the nights when you prayed for a sign, and now that the signs appear, you doubt them. You see the repeating numbers, the sudden coincidences, the whispers in your dreams, but your mind fights back, labeling them illusions. Still, your heart knows better. It feels the tremor of alignment, even when your logic resists it. And yet, the path grows darker. The people around you begin to notice your change. Some mock you, some pity you. You've lost yourself, they say. But what they don't see is that losing yourself is part of the sacred equation you must be emptied to be filled. You begin to retreat from the noise, not out of weakness, but to hear the voice within more clearly. In solitude, you confront the truth. You have been addicted to control. You prayed for divine intervention, but you never surrendered your timeline. And now, you realize the divine was not late. You were impatient. There is a moment, quiet but profound, when you fall to your knees, not in despair, but in recognition. You whisper not for answers, but for courage. You begin to understand that faith is not about knowing, it is about continuing even when you do not. Then, something stirs. The air grows heavy, and for a heartbeat, you feel it again. The same presence that once called you now surrounds you. But this time, it feels different. It does not promise ease. It does not promise clarity. It promises transformation. You see flashes of what could be visions, not of romance or fortune, but of purpose. You see yourself becoming light for others who will one day stand where you stand now, lost, afraid, yet still reaching. The realization pierces through your fear. Being chosen was never about receiving something. It was about becoming something. But before you can rise, the shadows return. Doubt whispers again, colder this time. What if you are deceiving yourself? What if all of this is just fantasy? You almost listen, almost retreat. But then you hear it, the same voice, deep within, calm and ancient. If it were fantasy, it would comfort you. But truth always challenges before it frees. You weep not because you are weak, but because you finally understand. The divine is not found in certainty. It is found in surrender. Outside, the world continues, as if nothing has changed. But within you, the war has ended. You no longer seek proof, you seek presence. You no longer chase signs, you become one. And though the path ahead remains veiled, your steps are steady, because faith has replaced fear, and purpose has replaced doubt. You rise, eyes red, but spirit clear. You know the road will test you again, but now, you are no longer afraid of breaking. You've learned that the cracks are where the light enters. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolls not as a threat, but as an echo of destiny awakening again. This time, you do not run. You walk into the storm, whispering to yourself the truth that no one can take from you. I was not chosen because I was ready. I am ready because I was chosen. And with that, the fire within becomes light. The chosen one. You thought the storm was over. You thought faith had finally steadied your heart. But faith has a way of testing its own strength, and peace is never permanent when the soul is being sculpted by divine hands. It began quietly, an unease you couldn't explain. The same signs that once comforted you began to feel like reminders of something you hadn't yet faced. The path ahead, once glowing with certainty, turned dim again. And you wondered, was it all just a fleeting spark? You had learned to walk through doubt. But now came something deeper, disillusionment, because the closer you move toward the light, the longer your shadow becomes. The people around you seemed distant. Conversations turned hollow. The world, which once shimmered with hidden meaning, began to feel heavy, ordinary, indifferent. You tried to pray, but your words felt like echoes against a closed sky. You tried to believe, But belief felt like holding smoke, and yet something in you refused to give up. A faint ember, buried beneath exhaustion, kept whispering, "Keep going." The divine, it seemed, had vanished, but what you did not see was that this vanishing was deliberate. Because the presence that once carried you must now trust you to walk. It is easy to have faith when miracles are visible. It is sacred to have faith when silence is all that answers you. You begin to sense that this darkness is not punishment, it is gestation. The divine has hidden you again, not to forget you, but to fortify you. Every chosen one must pass through this corridor of emptiness, where what you believe collides with what you truly are. Nights grow longer, dreams feel heavy with symbols you do not understand. Doors half open, roads disappearing into mist. A figure calling your name from somewhere between sleep and awakening. You wake with the taste of meaning on your tongue, but no words to describe it. You start to see your reflection differently. The eyes that once searched for signs now look deeper, as if trying to remember something ancient. And perhaps you are. Perhaps this is not the first time your soul has stood on the edge of becoming. Then, one evening, as the last light fades, you feel the weight of everything you've carried. The waiting, the longing, the unanswered prayers, and you break, not in despair, but in surrender. You finally stop demanding clarity, and in that silence, something awakens. You hear the whisper again, not as thunder, not as command, but as truth. The dawn does not begin with light. It begins with trust in the dark. You close your eyes, and for the first time, you don't fight the darkness, you breathe with it. You realize it is not your enemy. It is your teacher. The shadows begin to move differently now. What once frightened you now feels familiar, almost sacred. You sense that even the pain was a guide, sculpting your strength in ways comfort never could. Suddenly, you understand the absence of the divine was never absence at all. It was intimacy so close, it became invisible. It was the divine within you learning to stand on its own feet. When you rise, the world has not changed, but you have. You see everything in symbols now. The slow wind, the flicker of streetlights, the pulse of your own heartbeat, all whispering the same truth. You are not lost. You are in motion. People may not understand your journey. They may tell you to stop dreaming, to come back to what's real. But you've seen too much to return to sleep. You know that even in the silence, even in the shadow, something luminous is forming beneath the surface. And though the night stretches long, your soul knows what your mind forgets dawn is always preceded by darkness. The deeper the night, the brighter the revelation. The chosen path is not meant to be easy. It is meant to be real. You are not being punished. You are being purified. Not abandoned, but anointed. Not broken, but reborn. As you stand beneath the midnight sky, you whisper into the wind, not asking for rescue, but for remembrance. And the universe answers, not in words, but in stillness, a stillness so deep, it feels like the breath of God. You lift your head, no longer seeking the light, because you have become it. The shadow fades, not because it disappears, but because you now walk with it in harmony. You are no longer waiting for the dawn. You are the dawn, the chosen one. The night has passed, but dawn does not come in gold, it comes in revelation. The air around you feels thin, as if reality itself has been peeled back to reveal something fragile, something sacred. You sense it before you see it. The world has shifted, not outside, but within. You stand before a mirror. It is ordinary, yet tonight it feels alive. You gaze into it and see not your reflection, but 1,000 versions of yourself, each one carrying a memory, a mistake, a fragment of your forgotten truth. Some faces are smiling, others weeping. All are watching you. You whisper, "Who am I becoming?" And the reflection trembles, as if it too is searching for the answer. You thought being chosen was about finding a purpose. Now you see, it is about confronting yourself, your shadows, your fears, your hidden attachments. The divine does not hand you destiny. It hands you a mirror and waits for you to see who you truly are beneath the noise. You reach out and touch the glass. It feels cold at first, but then warmth seeps through the warmth of recognition. You realize you've been running from your own reflection, not because you feared what you'd find, but because you feared what it would ask of you. It asks for truth. It asks for surrender. It asks for the version of you that no longer hides behind old wounds. You remember every time love slipped away, every time you doubted your worth. You remember blaming fate, others, even God. But now, As you stare deeper into the mirror, the truth unfolds. You were never being denied love. You were being taught how to receive it. Love cannot enter a heart still holding onto its own debris. Faith cannot grow where fear has rooted itself. So the divine stripped you not to punish, but to purify. Every loss, every silence, every unanswered prayer was a mirror shattering, forcing you to rebuild yourself in honesty. And now, before this mirror of destiny, the question arises, are you ready to stop hiding from your reflection? You take a breath and whisper, yes, not the loud, confident yes of certainty, but the trembling yes of someone who understands the cost of awakening. And the mirror responds. The reflection shifts. You see light forming where your scars used to be. Every heartbreak glows like gold veins through broken glass. Every mistake becomes a star scattered across the surface of your soul. You realize that your imperfections were never obstacles, they were the map. Then the voice returns soft, timeless, familiar. What you seek has always been inside you. The love you await has been growing in the silence you feared. Tears fall, but they are not of sorrow, they are baptism. You see now that the divine counterpart you long for is not just another soul, it is the reflection of your healed self. When you meet them, it will not be recognition of a stranger, but remembrance of yourself. Still, the mirror begins to darken again, and another figure emerges shadowed, uncertain. It is you, but not the you of light. This one carries bitterness, envy, fear. You want to look away, but the voice whispers, face it. You realize that destiny is not about defeating darkness, it is about integrating it. You cannot walk into divine union while rejecting the parts of you that still ache for control, for validation, for revenge. They must be brought into the light, not banished from it. You reach toward your shadow self. It hesitates, trembling, then takes your hand, and in that moment, the two versions of you merge. The mirror does not shatter, this time it dissolves. The boundary between who you were and who you are becoming disappears. Now you understand the mirror was never outside you. It was your life. Every person you met, every trial you endured, every love that broke and rebuilt you, they were fragments of reflection, leading you home to yourself. The world around you shifts again. You step back from the mirror, and the air feels alive. You feel something new flowing through your veins, not excitement, but stillness. The kind of stillness that carries quiet authority, the calm of one who has touched truth. And just as you begin to breathe, a knock echoes through your chest, not on your door, but in your soul. Something, or someone, is drawing near. Your divine counterpart, the mirror made flesh, is awakening, just as you are. Their soul has been walking its own shadowed path, breaking, healing, becoming. And now, like two rivers that have run their separate courses, your journeys are beginning to converge. You don't know when or how you'll meet, but the energy already hums in the air. Every heartbeat, every sign, every whisper is pulling you closer. The mirror fades, leaving you standing in golden light. You understand now your purpose was never to seek completion, but to awaken the one within you who was already whole. Still, the story isn't finished. The connection that awaits you will test everything you've learned. Because the mirror's final lesson is not about reflection, it's about union, and every union demands transformation. If you feel this truth, hit like and subscribe. Write 333 inches the comments. It's a prophetic sign of your divine alignment, the chosen one. The air feels charged tonight. Every sound seems to carry meaning. Every silence hums with divine tension. You can sense it, the shift, the convergence. The moment the universe exhales and time folds in on itself. Something is coming. Someone is coming. You have walked through shadow, fire, silence, and surrender. You have faced yourself in the mirror and accepted both the light and the wound. And now, as if summoned by your own transformation, the other half of your divine story begins to draw near. They are not a stranger. They are recognition itself. The first time your eyes meet, the world does not explode. It stills. Everything around you slows, as if creation itself pauses to witness this reunion. You cannot explain it, yet you feel it deep within. This is not the beginning. This is remembrance. Their presence awakens something ancient in you, a song your soul once knew but forgot how to sing. The air between you burns with familiarity, with quiet awe, with the unspoken truth that this is not chance. It is alignment. It is prophecy. It is divine timing revealed. And yet, even as your spirit trembles with wonder, your human heart begins to resist. How can something so pure also be so terrifying? Because the moment love finds you, it also exposes every fear that kept it away. You see their eyes and feel both peace and panic. You recognize their energy and also your own reflection in their soul. It is not always comforting. True connection never is. It mirrors you, the healed and the hidden, the faith and the fracture. You begin to realize that divine love is not about ease. It is a sacred fire that burns away everything false. It is meant to refine, not to comfort. They do not promise you a perfect story. Instead, they offer you truth. And truth is raw, inconvenient, unpredictable. It demands vulnerability. You remember what the divine once whispered. You were not waiting for love. Love was waiting for you to awaken. Now, that awakening stands before you in human form. And suddenly, the idea of destiny feels heavier than you imagined. You want to run, not because you do not feel love, but because you feel it too deeply. You have prayed for this moment, and yet, facing it feels like facing eternity itself. The connection grows stronger with every silence shared. You can feel their thoughts before they speak them. You sense their emotions in the rhythm of your own heartbeat. It is not telepathy, it is soul resonance. But as this bond deepens, so do the challenges. The world begins to test what heaven has ordained. Distance, misunderstanding, doubt. They come not as enemies, but as teachers. Because every divine union must prove its foundation in the fires of reality. There will be moments when you question if it was all an illusion. Moments when silence stretches between you and you fear the story is unraveling. But that is the illusion. The divine does not undo what it has woven. It strengthens it through tension. In those moments, you will be tempted to retreat, to rebuild the walls you once tore down. But now you know better. You know that love cannot bloom behind barricades. You know that the pain you feel in their absence is not rejection, it is reflection. They are showing you where your faith still wavers. And as you stand in that discomfort, something begins to shift. You stop needing to control what unfolds. You begin to trust that what is meant for you will never require you to beg or chase. You begin to understand that divine love flows freely when both souls are aligned with truth. One evening, under a dim sky, you find yourself looking up, feeling the same pull that once led you into the storm. The stars above seem to move in rhythm with your heartbeat, whispering a truth you already know. You and your counterpart are two flames of the same divine fire. You were never meant to consume each other, but to illuminate the world together. Their role in your life is not to complete you, it is to call forth the version of you that already is whole. Through love, you awaken purpose. Through union, you ignite destiny. But make no mistake, this union is not the end of your journey. It is the next beginning. Because love like this does not simply arrive, it evolves, transforms, transcends. There will be moments when separation tests your faith. There will be nights when you question if the connection was imagined. But each silence will deepen your awareness. Each distance will expand your trust. Each challenge will purify your devotion. You begin to see love differently now, not as possession, but as partnership. Not as romance, but as resonance. Not as fantasy, but as divine collaboration between two souls remembering their sacred purpose. And as you surrender to this truth, the fire no longer frightens you. You realize you were never afraid of love, you were afraid of losing yourself in it. But divine love does not erase you, it reveals you. Now, as you stand in the glow of this awakening, you understand that what is holy about love is not how it begins, but how it transforms you. This is the union of fire and light, where passion meets purpose, where destiny meets devotion, where two souls become one not through possession, but through purpose. The night breathes around you. The stars seem closer now, as if they too are part of this covenant. You close your eyes and whisper a single truth to the sky. I am ready, not for love to find me, but for love to move through me. And in that moment, the fire does not burn, it blesses. Write 333 inches the comments. It's a prophetic sign of your divine alignment, the chosen one. There comes a moment when time itself bends to purpose. You have crossed the deserts of doubt, the oceans of silence, and the burning fields of transformation. And now, as the final veil lifts, you stand not as a seeker, but as the fulfillment of what was once sought. You feel it before you know it. The world grows still, as if the universe is holding its breath for your arrival into your own destiny. The wind no longer howls, it listens, The ground beneath your feet no longer trembles, it carries you. Everything, every moment, every heartbreak now makes sense in one silent revelation. You have become what you were always chasing. The love that once felt distant is no longer something waiting beyond the horizon. It lives within you now, breathing through your every word, radiating through your every step. You no longer pray for it, you are it. You understand now that divine love was never meant to be a possession. It was meant to be a frequency, a state of existence, a living rhythm of creation moving through you. You were never chosen to receive love, you were chosen to embody it. Your divine counterpart, too, walks this same light. The bond between you transcends time and distance, for it was never bound by either. Even if oceans stretch between your bodies, your souls are closer than breath. You feel their thoughts as gentle currents through your own spirit, reminding you that union was never about proximity, it was about purpose. You meet again, but differently this time. The energy no longer trembles, it harmonizes. The silence between you no longer hurts, it heals. You see not the person before you, but the soul you have always known, clothed in human form, carrying the same eternal flame. And in that instant, you understand the full circle of the journey. The divine never sent you to find another, it sent you to find yourself, so that when you finally met your reflection in another soul, you would recognize divinity in human eyes. Together, you now stand at the threshold of a new dawn. The fire that once burned through your trials now illuminates your path. The love that once broke you now builds worlds through your hands. You have become co-creators with the universe, vessels of healing, mirrors of divine mercy. But fulfillment does not mean ending. The return to light is not a closing, it is a continuation. The purpose of awakening is not to escape the world, but to bring light into it. You were not chosen to ascend alone. You were chosen to awaken others. You begin to speak differently, live differently, love differently. Your presence calms storms in other hearts, not because you are perfect, but because you remember what it feels like to be lost in them. Your words carry power not from authority, but from empathy. Your silence carries truth, not from knowledge, but from surrender. Now, every sunrise feels sacred. Every moment becomes a prayer without words. You no longer look to heaven for signs, because heaven has settled inside you. You are not waiting for miracles, you have become one. And yet, even now, a small part of you remembers the ache, the tears, the silence, the loneliness. You bow to it, not as regret, but as reverence. Because without the pain, you would have never found the path. Without the loss, you would have never opened your heart wide enough to hold eternity. You understand now that the divine never abandoned you. It was you who had to travel far enough to learn that you were never separate to begin with. Every unanswered prayer was answered in a higher tongue. Every closed door led to the right threshold. Every ending was an initiation in disguise. The final truth settles gently in your heart. What is meant for you cannot miss you. What is divine cannot be destroyed. What is love cannot end. You look toward the horizon, where the first light of a new day breaks through. The same sun that once rose on your despair now rises on your completion. The journey, the pain, the longing, they were never about finding a person or a purpose. They were about remembering that you are the purpose. You have returned to the light, not as who you were, but as who you have become. The chosen one is not a title. It is a state of being, a remembrance of divine identity, a merging of human fragility and celestial power. And so you walk forward, not toward destiny, but as destiny. Every step is a prayer. Every breath is creation. Every heartbeat is a declaration that love is not coming, it is here. You no longer seek the voice of God in the wind, because the wind moves through your spirit. You no longer wait for a sign, because you have become the sign. The universe watches, silent, reverent, knowing that the cycle is complete. You are the beginning and the end, the fire and the light, the chosen and the choosing. You lift your face to the dawn and whisper, not in hope, but in certainty, I am home. And in that sacred moment, all creation whispers back, welcome back, beloved. You were never lost. If you feel this truth, hit like and subscribe. Write 333 inches the comments. It's a prophetic sign of your divine alignment.